Welcome to our channel. Today, we're diving into the world of CV axles, a crucial part of your vehicle's drivetrain. You know, those things that connect your transmission to your wheels and make your car actually move. And we're going to break it down nice and simple, so you can keep your car running smooth and avoid getting ripped off at the mechanic. Now, a lot of folks don't know much about CV axles, but let me tell you, they're more important than you might think. They're what allow your car to turn and handle properly. And if they go bad, you're going to have a whole world of problems on your hands. We're going to talk about what CV axles are, how they work, and most importantly, the signs that yours might be going bad. So buckle up, grab a wrench, and let's get started. All right, so let's talk about CV joints. CV stands for constant velocity, and that's the key to understanding how these things work. See, when your car's going down the road, your wheels are constantly turning, right? But they're not just turning, they're also moving up and down with the suspension. That's a lot of motion for a drivetrain to handle, and that's where CV joints come in. They're like these little mechanical marvels that allow for all of that movement without binding up or losing power. Imagine trying to bend a solid rod at a sharp angle while still trying to spin it. It ain't gonna happen, but a CV joint with its clever design and all those little bearings inside can handle it like a champ. There are usually two CV joints on each axle, one at the wheel end and one at the transmission end. They're both important for smooth operation, and if either one goes bad, you're gonna know it. Now, these CV joints are pretty darn tough, but they're not invincible. Over time, the grease inside can dry out, the bearings can wear down, and the whole thing can start to go south. That's why it's important to know the signs of a failing CV joint so you can catch it early and avoid a major headache down the road. Now let's talk about those rubber boots that cover the CV joints. They might not look like much, but trust me, they're important. Think of them like the protective gear for your CV joints, keeping all the good stuff in and all the bad stuff out. See, inside those boots, you've got this special grease that keeps the CV joint lubricated and running smoothly. Without that grease, the joint would wear out in no time, and you'd be looking at a hefty repair bill. But it's not just about keeping the grease in. It's also about keeping the bad stuff out. Dirt, water, road salt, all that nasty stuff can wreak havoc on a CV joint. That's why those boots are so important. They act like a barrier, keeping all those contaminants away and protecting your CV joint from premature wear and tear. Now, those boots are pretty tough, but they can get torn or damaged over time. If you see a torn boot, don't ignore it. That's like leaving a wound open to infection. Get it replaced as soon as possible to prevent further damage to your CV joint. And hey, while you're at it, it's a good idea to have your mechanic check the condition of your CV boots during regular maintenance. A little preventative maintenance can go a long way in keeping your car on the road and out of the shop. All right, now for the important part. How do you know if your CV axles are going bad? Well, your car will tell you, but you gotta know what to listen for. First off, if you're hearing any clicking or popping noises when you turn, especially sharp turns, that's a telltale sign of a worn CV joint. It's like a little click of death that's telling you, hey, I'm about to go, buddy. Another sign is vibration while driving. If you feel excessive vibration in the steering wheel or the whole vehicle, especially at higher speeds, that could be a sign of a failing CV axle. And keep an eye out for grease leaks. If you see grease near the inside of your wheels or under the vehicle, that's a sure sign that a CV boot is torn and the joint is losing lubrication. You might also hear knocking or clunking sounds during acceleration or deceleration. That's the sound of a worn CV joint really starting to protest. And finally, if you're having difficulty steering, especially during turns, that could be a sign of a severely damaged CV axle. Look, I can't stress this enough. Don't ignore these warning signs. If you catch a CV axle problem early, you might be able to get away with just replacing a boot. But if you let it go too long, you're looking at a much more expensive repair, and you might even put yourself in a dangerous situation. Ignoring CV axle issues can lead to drivetrain damage, reduced vehicle control, and costly repairs. If you suspect a problem, have a mechanic inspect your vehicle promptly. Remember, a little preventative maintenance goes a long way. Have your mechanic check your CV boots regularly and don't ignore those warning signs. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more automotive tips.